Welcome to our last lesson on engineering research articles. In this lesson, we'll be looking at sections of two different chapters. In the first part, we'll be looking at chapter 9.4, looking at the styles used in engineering writing. And then in the second part of the lesson, we'll be looking at a part of chapter 19, where you'll begin to actually plan and work on your own writing. Now, unfortunately, in an online course, it's very difficult to cover the actual writing. Number one, because it's very different in every field and even every genre. It's also very time intensive and therefore very difficult for grading in a massive online course. So there's much more information on this in the textbook, but as far as the actual writing and help with that, you'll have to talk with your advisor or a writing instructor about that. Okay, but let's look at writing styles. Style refers to how much information you give the reader. There are two basic styles called condensed and extended. Condensed assumes that you have a lot of information. There's a lot of old information that's known to both the writer and the reader. Extended style, on the other hand, conveys new information. And so there are things that make reading easier, particularly introductory summaries and topic sentences. Let me explain what those are. The summary paragraph is an introductory summary that says what's coming ahead. It's sort of like if you had a GPS unit, it warns you, in 100 meters, turn left. And then at the beginning of each paragraph, there's often a topic sentence that says what that paragraph is about. This is sort of like the GPS telling you when you reach the corner, turn left. And these both help readers to follow the argument through all the twists and turns of the argument. On the other hand, condensed style, you don't have either of these. You don't have summary statements or topic sentences. Each sentence conveys separate information. And this is sort of like when you're in familiar territory, the GPS can be annoying. You don't need to know that you need to turn. You already know that. And so that extra information is distracting, and often you'll turn the GPS off. The same in condensed style. The information that's not needed is just turned off. So let's consider where we would expect to find these different styles. And this matches up very closely with what we looked at in the last lesson about past versus present research. The introduction is about the past research, things that should be relatively well known, and therefore is usually written in a fairly condensed style, although there may still be topic sentences. At the other end of the article, in the results and discussion or testing and conclusion, that's all new information, and therefore tends to be written in extended style. On the other hand, the methods division in IMRD, again, that's known information, and that tends to be written in a very short, very condensed style. But the process division, that's entirely new, and therefore tends to be written in extended style. Okay, now we're going to look at our exemplar articles to see where we can find extended or condensed style in those articles.
Okay, so the introduction is the condensed style because there's no topic sentence and there's no summary. There's all citations and past research. And also here there's no topic sentence and no summary. But in the experiment part, that the first part, that it didn't show the topic sentence and it didn't show the summary. So we call this as condensed style. But here, although the content is condensed style, but it has the topic sentence because it's a concept from the framework. So it used the topic sentence here. And also at the third paragraph, it also has a topic sentence, but also in condensed style.
Right. So sometimes there's not a strong distinction between the extended and condensed style. There are intermediate forms, particularly topic sentences, that you'll find in either one. Not regularly, necessarily, not in every paragraph, But as you say here, at the beginning of a section, it will point out, and that again calls attention to the fact that they're looking at 2 and 3 layer. If people don't look at the title, they get it from the first sentence in the paragraph.
Yes, because this is kind of a new thing compared to the traditional way.
Right.
So here the fourth part is also the content style, and the fifth part also. And in the resultant discussion, although there's no topic sentence or summary, but it also use extended style because it has explanations and comparisons.
Okay.
You can see a comparison here. So all of the resultant discussion part is extended styles.
But it still doesn't have the summary paragraphs or the topic sentences that you might expect. So again, it's not extremely extended like some of the other ones that we'll look at. That and that's typical of chemical engineering. It tends to be more condensed. That's part of why the articles tend to be shorter in this field.
Yes, because the structure is not that clearly, but most of the component that is necessary in a paragraph that will be there, but just no topic sentence and summaries there. And for the last part is the conclusion that is also condensed style.
Right. So again, condensed style clearly dominates in the chemical engineering article.
Yes. Yes.
Now the same for our mechanical engineering article.
Okay, let's look at the introductions. Actually, in some paragraph in introduction, we also have like some kind of the topic sentence, but actually it's not, because it's just like the introduction, what they will say, but it's not summarize what they say. Yeah, so we will consider this one as a condensed style. And okay, going to the section 2, starting the process divisions, we have the 2.1, as we know is a framework. So in here we have now the topic sentence. And okay, move on to the 2.2, we have the topic paragraph instead of sentence. So because this paragraph also summarize the whole section, whole subsections.
So that's interesting. You said that framework 2.1 is framework, and you don't have extended style. You don't have a summary because that's old information. But you get into 2.2, that's the new information, and it does have a summary, and that's what we would expect.
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, as well for the section 3, there also is a new information. So we have the summarize paragraph here and to summarize for the whole sections. And it's it's uncommon for the section 4 because this one is also new information, but no the summarize sentence or paragraph here.
It just jumps right into it. And I think that's because it's sort of a continuation of section 3. It's a different topic, but it's a continuation of the mathematical analysis, and so they don't have a separate introduction to that.
Oh, is it possible that for the scholar in this field will know this kind of these sections because they start by the conference analysis?
Yeah, right.
Okay. And okay, going to the testing divisions, even here we have some kind like the as we have said in the introduction division, we also have like the is look like the summarized sentence, but for this one they just show that we have the simulations and experiment, and they don't show that okay we have the simulation and experiment. So and then they will compare. So they not describe it or summarize what they have done here. So we consider this one as a condensed because as you see the length of the written here is really short.
Yeah, but so again, I mean, this is sort of shows that there's not a clear distinction always, that they have a summary paragraph before they go into 5.1, which is the simulation, and 5.2, which is the experiment. But because that whole section is so short, they don't go into great detail as they might in a fully extended format. Okay.
And okay, the final one is conclusions. So in this part, we have no the summarized sentence here. So it's also condensed style written.
Right. So again, yours is largely condensed style with just a few elements of the extended style topic sentences and maybe one short summary or two short summaries. But other than that, it's largely condensed. Okay. Now, in our electrical engineering article, we're going to see a lot more of the extended style.
Yeah, so this article in electrical engineering, they almost use the extended style. And as you can see in the first session, so they will start with the summary paragraph to talk what they will talk in the more detail in the later.
Right. So this is typical of the extended style, that you often have a summary paragraph before the sections, and that summarizes what's going to come in the different sections.
Yeah. So similar like that, we also have on this. The whole two paragraph is also summarize this session.
Right. Yeah. So in this case, you have the first one talks about the overall goal. It's a reminder of the research goal. And then the second, in this section, it talks about how this part addresses part of that goal.
Yeah. And another thing, start at the subsection. They also give the summary paragraph, and then they spread their methods below.
Right, before the subsections.
Yeah.
Right.
We can see, it's similar like this. So, start at the subsection is always have the summarized paragraph.
Right.
Yeah. And later on, they also have the connection between the last previous, and now they go on their session detail.
Okay, so this is a different kind of summary, because this is pointing out a summary of the previous section before they go on. Yeah. So it's a connector, right? It's another function that's common in extended style.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just before the subsection, always they summarize what they are doing on their research detail.
Right.
For example, it's for two sequential circuits, and then they move into the experimental results.
Right. And the experimental results just jumps right into it, which is again common in this field.
Yeah.
It talks about the testing methods and then directly into the results
without
any sort of a summary, because that title, experimental results, by itself indicates to readers what to expect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just start with another session and also the same extended style.
Right, because yours has that sort of unusual structure, mixing, process, and testing. And this is the next process section, and again goes back to the extended style. Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, so now you should be ready to begin your own writing. There's more information about reasoning and sequencing strategies in the rest of Chapter 9. And again, there's a lot more on writing strategies in the rest of the textbook. We'll talk about a few of those things in the second part of this lesson to get you started, but then you'll be on your own for actually doing your own writing.